Let me share something very important with you today, something many people with diabetes or prediabetes are never told. Blood sugar problems are not just about sugar. They are deeply connected to mineral deficiencies that silently weaken your body every single day. You see, your body is electrical. Every heartbeat, every nerve signal, every insulin response depends on minerals. When those minerals are low, your blood sugar becomes unstable, insulin stops working efficiently, and inflammation rises. And that is when A1c begins to climb. The good news, when the right minerals are restored, the body often begins to heal itself, naturally, gently, and safely. Let's talk about the 4 most essential minerals that help stabilize blood sugar, improve insulin sensitivity, and support long-term metabolic health. Let me explain something that can completely change the way you understand diabetes and blood sugar problems. For years, people have been told that diabetes is simply about eating too much sugar or carbohydrates. While diet absolutely matters, that explanation is incomplete, and for many people it keeps them stuck and frustrated. The real issue often runs much deeper, right down to the cellular level, where mineral deficiencies quietly disrupt the body's natural ability to regulate blood sugar. Your body is not just chemical, it is electrical. Every single cell communicates using electrical signals, and those signals depend on minerals. Minerals act like switches, messengers, and stabilizers. Without them, the body's systems slow down, misfire, or stop communicating properly. Insulin resistance, unstable blood sugar, and rising A1c are very often signs that the body is missing key building blocks it needs to function. Think about insulin for a moment. Insulin is a hormone designed to move glucose from the bloodstream into your cells so it can be used for energy. But insulin does not work in isolation. It requires minerals to bind to receptors, activate enzymes, and open cellular doors. When those minerals are low, insulin can be present even in high amounts, but it simply doesn't work effectively. Sugar stays trapped in the blood, and over time this leads to inflammation, nerve damage, and fatigue. This is why so many people say, I'm eating less sugar, but my blood glucose is still high. The body is trying, but it lacks the tools to respond. One of the biggest contributors to mineral deficiency today is modern lifestyle. Processed foods are stripped of minerals. Chronic stress burns through magnesium and potassium. Certain medications increase mineral loss through urine. Even aging itself reduces mineral absorption. So over time, the body slowly becomes depleted, often without obvious symptoms at first. What happens next is a domino effect. Low minerals increase stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones raise blood sugar as a survival mechanism. The nervous system becomes overstimulated, sleep quality drops, cravings increase, and the pancreas is forced to work harder and harder, eventually becoming exhausted. This is not a failure of willpower, it is a failure of nourishment. When minerals are low, cells become rigid instead of flexible. They stop responding efficiently to insulin's signal. This condition, insulin resistance, is not permanent, but it cannot improve without restoring what the cells are missing. That is why focusing only on calories or sugar grams often leads to disappointment. Another important piece to understand is inflammation. High blood sugar creates inflammation, but inflammation also raises blood sugar. Mineral deficiencies intensify this cycle. Without adequate minerals, the body cannot properly neutralize free radicals or calm inflammatory responses. Over time, this damages blood vessels, nerves, eyes, and kidneys. This is why diabetes is not just about numbers on a glucose meter, it's about long-term tissue health. When the body receives the minerals it needs, something remarkable begins to happen. Cells regain sensitivity, blood sugar starts to respond more predictably, energy improves, the nervous system calms down, and many people notice that their cravings decrease naturally without forcing themselves to be strong. This is the body healing, not being controlled but supported. Minerals also play a major role in digestion. If digestion is weak, minerals are poorly absorbed even from healthy foods. Low stomach acid, common with aging and stress, further reduces absorption. This creates a cycle where people eat well but still remain deficient. Supporting digestion and mineral intake together is essential for true blood sugar balance. Hydration is another overlooked factor. Minerals and water work together. Without proper hydration, minerals cannot move efficiently into cells. Dehydration alone can raise blood sugar by concentrating glucose in the bloodstream. Proper mineral-rich hydration helps thin the blood, improve circulation, and support glucose transport. What's important to understand is that mineral balance is not about mega dosing or chasing quick fixes. It's about consistency. Gentle daily nourishment through whole foods, proper hydration, stress reduction, and mindful supplementation when needed. The body responds best to steady support, not extremes. Lowering A1c is not about punishing the body, it's about restoring communication at the cellular level. When minerals are replenished, insulin doesn't have to shout anymore, it can whisper and the cells will listen. This is why so many people see improvement when they shift from restriction to nourishment. They stop fighting their bodies and start working with them. Healing diabetes is not just possible, it is logical when you understand how the body truly works. Give the cells the minerals they need and they will begin to regulate blood sugar the way they were designed to do. Magnesium is one of the most overlooked yet most powerful minerals when it comes to blood sugar control, insulin sensitivity, and overall metabolic health. In fact, if there were one mineral that nearly every person with diabetes or prediabetes should pay close attention to, it would be magnesium. Not because it's trendy, but because the body simply cannot function properly without it. Magnesium is involved in more than 300 enzymatic reactions in the human body. Many of these reactions directly control how glucose is metabolized, how insulin functions, and how energy is produced inside the cell. When magnesium levels drop, these processes begin to slow down and break down. The result is insulin resistance, unstable blood sugar, fatigue, and increased inflammation. Here's what's important to understand. Magnesium is required for insulin to work. Insulin may be present in the bloodstream, but without enough magnesium, insulin receptors on the cell surface become less responsive. It's like knocking on a door where the doorbell is broken. The signal is sent, but the door doesn't open. Glucose remains in the bloodstream and blood sugar rises. This is why many people with diabetes have high insulin levels and high blood sugar at the same time. The issue is not always a lack of insulin, it's a lack of cellular response. Magnesium helps restore that response. Another critical role magnesium plays is calming the nervous system. Chronic stress is one of the biggest drivers of high blood sugar. Stress hormones such as cortisol and adrenaline raise glucose levels to prepare the body for survival. When magnesium is low, the nervous system becomes overstimulated and these stress hormones remain elevated far longer than they should. This creates a vicious cycle. Stress raises blood sugar. High blood sugar increases inflammation. Inflammation further depletes magnesium, and the cycle continues. When magnesium levels are restored, the nervous system begins to relax. Cortisol levels decrease. Muscles loosen. Breathing deepens. And blood sugar becomes more stable. Not because of force, but because the body is no longer in a constant state of alarm. Sleep is another major factor. Poor sleep raises blood sugar and worsens insulin resistance. Magnesium is essential for quality sleep because it activates calming neurotransmitters in the brain and relaxes muscle tissue. Many people with low magnesium experience restless sleep, nighttime leg cramps, or waking up feeling unrefreshed. When sleep improves, blood sugar control often improves right along with it. This is not a coincidence. Healing happens during rest. Magnesium also plays a key role in reducing sugar cravings. Cravings are not just psychological, they are often physiological. When magnesium is low, the body seeks quick energy and sugar becomes the fastest option. This is why many people crave sweets in the evening when magnesium levels are naturally lower. Restoring magnesium helps regulate appetite and stabilize energy, making it much easier to make healthy food choices without feeling deprived. Another important aspect is inflammation. Magnesium is a natural anti-inflammatory mineral. Chronic low-grade inflammation is at the core of insulin resistance and diabetic complications. When magnesium is deficient, inflammatory markers rise, damaging blood vessels, nerves, and organs over time. This is why people with diabetes who are low in magnesium are more likely to experience complications such as neuropathy, cardiovascular disease, and kidney stress. Magnesium doesn't just help manage blood sugar, it helps protect the body from long-term damage. Now let's talk about why magnesium deficiency is so common. Modern farming has depleted magnesium from the soil. Processed foods contain very little magnesium. Stress, caffeine, alcohol, and certain medications increase magnesium loss through urine. Aging reduces absorption, and high blood sugar itself causes magnesium to be excreted more rapidly. So people with diabetes often lose magnesium faster than they can replace it, even if they eat relatively well. This is why food sources are essential, but may not always be enough on their own. Leafy greens, nuts, seeds, legumes, avocados, and whole grains are excellent sources of magnesium. However, digestion and absorption must also be supported. Low stomach acid and gut inflammation can significantly reduce how much magnesium the body actually absorbs. Hydration also matters. Magnesium works best in a well-hydrated body. Dehydration concentrates blood sugar and increases mineral loss. Gentle, consistent hydration supports magnesium balance and glucose regulation at the same time. Supplementation, when done correctly, can be very helpful. Forms such as magnesium glycinate or magnesium citrate are often better absorbed and gentler on digestion. Timing also matters. Many people benefit from magnesium in the evening because of its calming effect on the nervous system and muscles. But this is not about megadoses or quick fixes. The body responds best to steady, consistent support. Small daily improvements add up over time. What's most important to understand is that magnesium does not force blood sugar down. It allows the body to function the way it was designed to function. It restores communication between insulin and the cell. It calms the nervous system. It supports sleep, digestion, and inflammation control. When magnesium levels improve, many people notice their blood sugar becomes more predictable, fasting glucose improves, A1c gradually comes down, energy returns, and they feel more at ease in their own bodies. This is not magic, this is physiology. The body is incredibly intelligent. When given the right mineral support, it knows how to heal. Magnesium is not just a supplement, it is a foundation. And without a strong foundation, no structure can stand for long. Chromium and zinc are two minerals that rarely get the attention they deserve, yet they play a profoundly important role in blood sugar control, insulin efficiency, and long-term metabolic health. Many people focus only on what they should remove from their diet, but healing does not come from subtraction alone. It comes from restoring what the body is missing, and chromium and zinc are often at the top of that list. Let's just begin with chromium. Chromium's primary role in the body is to enhance the action of insulin. Insulin is the hormone responsible for moving glucose out of the bloodstream and into the cells where it can be used for energy. Chromium does not lower blood sugar on its own. It helps insulin work the way it was designed to work. Without enough chromium, insulin becomes less effective, even if the pancreas is producing plenty of it. You can think of chromium as the mineral that helps insulin deliver its message. When chromium levels are low, that message becomes weak and distorted. Glucose lingers in the bloodstream, blood sugar rises, and the cells remain underfueled. This leads to fatigue, brain fog, and intense cravings for quick energy, especially sugar and refined carbohydrates. This is one of the reasons chromium deficiency is closely linked to insulin resistance. When insulin resistance develops, the body produces more insulin to compensate, which further stresses the pancreas over time. Chromium helps reduce this burden by improving insulin sensitivity at the cellular level. Many studies have shown that adequate chromium intake can help lower fasting blood glucose and gradually improve A1c levels, particularly in people with type 2 diabetes or prediabetes. But perhaps just as important is chromium's effect on appetite and cravings. When glucose is better able to enter the cells, the brain receives the signal that the body has enough energy. This naturally reduces the urge to overeat or seek out sweets. Chromium also helps stabilize blood sugar swings throughout the day. Instead of sharp spikes and crashes, blood sugar becomes smoother and more predictable. This steadiness is essential for long-term metabolic health and emotional balance. Now let's talk about zinc. Zinc plays a central role in insulin production, storage, and release. Inside the pancreas, insulin is stored in small packets, and zinc is required to stabilize those packets so insulin can be released properly when blood sugar rises. Without enough zinc, insulin secretion becomes irregular and inefficient, but zinc's role does not stop there. Zinc is also essential for immune function, inflammation control, and tissue repair. These functions are especially important for people with diabetes who are more vulnerable to infections, slow wound healing, and nerve damage. Low zinc levels worsen these risks and make it harder for the body to recover from even minor injuries. There is also a strong relationship between zinc and oxidative stress. High blood sugar increases the production of free radicals, which damage cells and blood vessels. Zinc acts as a powerful antioxidant, helping to neutralize this damage and protect tissues over time. One of the challenges with zinc is that people with diabetes tend to lose more of it through urine. Elevated blood sugar increases zinc excretion, creating a cycle where deficiency worsens blood sugar control and poor blood sugar control worsens deficiency. Zinc deficiency can show up in subtle ways: frequent infections, slow healing cuts, loss of taste or smell, brittle nails, or numbness and tingling in the hands and feet. These symptoms are often treated individually without addressing the underlying mineral imbalance. What's important to understand is that chromium and zinc work best as part of a balanced system. Chromium improves insulin sensitivity, while zinc supports insulin production and reduces inflammation. Together, they help restore balance rather than forcing blood sugar down unnaturally. Food sources are always the best place to start. Chromium is found in foods like broccoli, green beans, whole grains, nuts, seeds, and eggs. Zinc is abundant in pumpkin seeds, lentils, chickpeas, nuts, seeds, eggs, and seafood. These foods provide not just minerals, but fiber and phytonutrients that further support blood sugar control. Absorption matters just as much as intake. Digestive health plays a major role in how well chromium and zinc are absorbed. Low stomach acid, gut inflammation, and poor digestion can significantly reduce mineral uptake. This is why supporting digestion through mindful eating, adequate chewing, and stress reduction is so important. Supplementation can be helpful for some people, especially when dietary intake or absorption is compromised. However, balance is key. Too much zinc, for example, can interfere with other minerals like copper. This is why moderate, well-designed supplementation under guidance is always preferable to excessive dosing. Another important factor is consistency. Chromium and zinc do not work overnight. Their benefits accumulate gradually as insulin sensitivity improves, inflammation decreases, and cellular function is restored. This is how A1c improves. Slowly, steadily, and safely. What many people find most empowering is that when these minerals are restored, blood sugar control feels less like a constant struggle, cravings diminish, energy becomes more stable, focus improves, and the fear around food begins to fade. This is not about controlling the body, it's about cooperating with it. Chromium and zinc remind us that diabetes management is not just about avoiding certain foods or chasing numbers. It's about rebuilding the body's natural systems from the inside out. When the right minerals are present, the body regains its ability to regulate itself. Potassium is one of the most underestimated minerals when it comes to blood sugar balance, insulin sensitivity, and overall metabolic stability. Most people associate potassium only with muscle cramps or heart rhythm, but its role goes far beyond that. Potassium is a primary mineral inside the cell, and that is exactly where blood sugar regulation must happen. When potassium is low, glucose remains in the bloodstream. When potassium is balanced, glucose can finally move where it belongs into the cell. Every cell in your body depends on a delicate balance between sodium and potassium. This balance controls electrical activity, fluid movement, nerve signaling, and muscle contraction. But it also plays a critical role in how glucose is transported across cell membranes. Insulin opens the door, but potassium helps power the process. Without enough potassium, that door does not open efficiently. This is why low potassium levels are strongly associated with insulin resistance and higher fasting blood sugar. Even mild deficiencies can make blood sugar more volatile, leading to sharp spikes and sudden drops that leave people feeling tired, shaky, or mentally foggy. Potassium also affects the pancreas itself. Healthy potassium levels support proper insulin secretion. When potassium is depleted, insulin release becomes less coordinated, contributing to unstable glucose control throughout the day. Over time, this puts additional strain on the pancreas, especially in people already dealing with insulin resistance. Another critical role of potassium is its influence on stress hormones. When potassium is low, the body becomes more sensitive to adrenaline and cortisol. These hormones raise blood sugar as part of the fight or flight response. Chronic stress combined with low potassium creates a perfect storm for elevated glucose and rising A1c. Restoring potassium helps calm this stress response. Nerves fire more smoothly. Muscles relax. Blood sugar becomes more predictable. This calming effect is one of the reasons people often feel more grounded and less anxious when potassium levels are adequate. Potassium is also essential for cardiovascular health, which is especially important for people with diabetes. High blood sugar damages blood vessels, increasing the risk of high blood pressure and heart disease. Potassium helps relax blood vessel walls, improve circulation, and counterbalance excess sodium. This supports healthier blood pressure and better oxygen delivery to tissues. Improved circulation also means better glucose delivery to muscles where it can be burned for energy instead of lingering in the bloodstream. This is one of the ways potassium indirectly supports better blood sugar control. Another often overlooked benefit of potassium is its role in preventing nighttime blood sugar fluctuations. Low potassium can contribute to muscle tension, restless sleep, and nighttime stress hormone release, all of which can raise blood sugar while you sleep. Many people wake up with high fasting glucose not because of what they ate the night before, but because their nervous system remained overstimulated overnight. Adequate potassium helps relax muscles and nerves, supporting deeper, more restorative sleep. When sleep improves, blood sugar regulation improves right along with it. Now let's talk about why potassium deficiency is so common. Highly processed foods contain very little potassium and far too much sodium. Chronic dehydration reduces potassium availability inside the cell. Certain medications, including some diuretics, increase potassium loss. Stress and high blood sugar both increase urinary excretion of potassium. And aging reduces the body's ability to retain it. This means many people with diabetes are unknowingly operating at a potassium deficit even if their blood tests appear normal. Blood levels do not always reflect what's happening inside the cell where potassium matters most. Food is the best and safest way to restore potassium balance. Avocados, leafy greens, beans, lentils, sweet potatoes, squash, and bananas are all excellent sources. These foods also provide fiber, antioxidants, and other minerals that work synergistically to support blood sugar control. Hydration is essential. Potassium works with fluid balance. Without enough water, potassium cannot enter cells effectively. Gentle, consistent hydration throughout the day supports potassium movement and helps prevent blood sugar concentration in the bloodstream. It's also important to address sodium intake. Excess sodium without adequate potassium disrupts cellular balance and increases insulin resistance. The goal is not to eliminate salt entirely, but to restore the natural sodium to potassium ratio found in whole foods. Supplementation should be approached cautiously. Potassium supplements can be risky if used improperly, especially for individuals with kidney issues. This is why food-based potassium is generally the safest and most effective approach, unless guided by a healthcare professional. What's powerful about potassium is that its effects are often felt quickly. Many people notice improved energy, fewer muscle cramps, calmer nerves, and more stable blood sugar within a short time of improving potassium intake. Over time, these small improvements accumulate, leading to better A1c, improved blood pressure, and greater metabolic resilience. Potassium does not force the body to do anything. It supports the natural electrical balance that allows cells to function correctly. When that balance is restored, insulin works more efficiently, glucose moves where it should, and the body begins to stabilize itself. This is how real healing happens, not through extremes, but through balance. When potassium levels are supported consistently, the body becomes calmer, stronger, and more responsive. Blood sugar becomes easier to manage, energy returns, and the fear around diabetes begins to loosen its grip.